Hey everybody, it's Coin Snobz. I'm Keith.
And I'm Jason.
And for our next two videos, we're going to do our travel section of $50 boxes. So my wife and kids went to visit a friend of hers. She's been friends with this gal from like junior high. Anyway, she went to another state to visit her. So I promptly got on the phone and called one of the banks in her area and ordered in a box of halves. So she stuffed this in her suitcase to bring back for me. And as you can see, the TSA was wondering what the heck was in there. So there was a little pamphlet that came along with it that explained, hey, you had some suspicious stuff in your bag. Just to let you know, we rifled through it, which we knew was going to happen. But she tried to get this into a flat rate box, and she didn't have enough weight in her bag to worry about it, so she just stuffed it in her bag and brought it home for me. So this one is from a couple states away, so we're going to open this bad boy up and see what kind of enders we got.
See how suspicious this box is. Best sound in the world.
Mm-hmm. So we got a little glittery goober right there.
Beautiful.
It doesn't seem we have any silver enders, but if we start breaking these open and it's stuffed, maybe we'll start recording the whole thing.
Yep, definitely. Otherwise, we'll just do a wrap up on the other goodies. Alright guys, quick overview. This is all the fun stuff we found in the first traveling box. Got pretty good amount of struck through grease, struck through debris. As you know, we typically find quite a few of those, but as far as the ratio of the amount of things that we found to them being struck through is pretty high, actually. Found quite a few. A couple of them pretty dramatic. But we will show you those guys here in a minute. Or at least, I'll show you the more dramatic ones, I should say, under the scope. I got one here that is strike doubling. And strike doubling, of course, is not true doubling, but we like them, so we keep them. They're kind of cool to look at. And then we have some clashed coins. Pretty decent amount. Just so you guys know, if I'm showing reverse or obverse, that whatever side I have facing up is where the error is, or what have you. Just so I remember where I'm looking at, so I can show you guys under the scope. But as most of you probably know, clashes occur when there is no blank planchet between the obverse and reverse die when they hit each other to strike an actual coin. And they leave a little imprint of each other. And that's typically when you will also find struck through grease, because the mint worker is going through trying to polish out as much of that die clash as they can to continue to use that die, and they leave a little bit of that grease behind. Next, we have some really nice 1971 Denvers, mint state condition. I have a feeling that somebody probably broke open some mint sets to pull something else out, get it certified or whatever. Maybe they did it for their album, and they said, meh, I don't want the $50, so I'm just going to throw them into circulation. But either way, these have not been in circulation for very long at all. Also got a pretty decent 1980 Denver. Got some fingerprints on it and stuff. Not quite as good a condition as the 71s, but that's okay. One single die crack. Of course, what would a coin roll hunt be without a Philadelphia with a die crack? It's actually kind of strange that there's only one of them, but that's okay. There it is. And then some oddities that I will definitely show you guys under the scope. This one, you can probably quite easily see what's going on here. I don't think it's struck through grease. I think it's just a really weak strike. It could be struck through grease. Maybe it's both. I don't know. But I've talked about this before. You guys have probably heard it from other people, but early 2000s, like 2000, 2001, 2002, they were striking some pretty weak coins. So it's pretty common to find details missing in pretty much every denomination, but especially we've seen them in half dollars, pennies, and nickels, but seen them in other denominations too. But most common actually is quarters. We have quite a few quarters and quite a few pennies that are struck kind of weak, which I would imagine doesn't really add any value to the coin itself. But I mean, again, we just like it, so there it is. And then this one, if you look really close, you could probably see what's going on, but we'll definitely put that under the scope as well. So, one more quick gander here at the overview, and off to the scope. Alright, first up, 1971 Denver. The usual shape that we find them in. But we're going to keep this bad boy because it has a really dramatic struck-through error on the shield. Spent some time obsessing over this and trying to decide if it was damaged or if it was actually struck through. But the way the toning matches the toning of the rest of the coin as opposed to being super bright, where typically if damage occurs on a coin like this, it'll be pretty bright because it's fresh metal. I'm pretty convinced that this is struck through a giant glob of grease or something. And if you look at it, you can actually still see where some of the detail has carried over from the shield all the way down to the bottom of it. So it was definitely struck at a high pressure with something on it. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and call that struck through, and it's pretty cool. Another 1971 Denver with a little bit of struck through right there between the 9 and the 7. Kind of weak, again, kind of hard to tell. There you go, you can see it a little bit better there. I always got to try to get the light right for you guys. And then also on the reverse is a really dramatic piece of struck through something. Right there between the D and the O, going up through the star all the way to the tail feathers. Now, it almost looked like lamination at first, but if you look at it, the star is intact. So it had to have been struck through something. I mean, the star is a little bit dimpled there, but that to me looks more like struck through than it does lamination. Typically, if it's lamination, you would see a pretty good chunk of that star peeling up or has already peeled off. Pretty good example of struck through grease here on this bicentennial. Most of the bottom of Independence Hall is missing, plus a lot of the letters in Independence. So that one is like the definitive textbook version of struck through grease for sure. Alright, 1971 Denver again. But take a look at this. Now, what do you guys think? Is this struck through or is this lamination? It kind of looks like lamination, but to me it also could be struck through because if you look below it, kind of like around in this area right here, it looks like there's a little bit more struck through. Or maybe it's, you know, this bottom part is struck through and the top part is lamination. Hard to tell. And of course, lamination is where, you know, there's gases or some sort of debris stuck in between the layers of clad and eventually they separate, or the gas, of course, gases off and causes a separation. But if it's lamination, obviously it's not a retained piece. It has separated and peeled off probably several decades ago. But I don't know, what do you guys think? Lamination or struck through? And a quick look at another bicentennial that has definitely been struck through grease. Most of the O and the F in of is missing. And also some nasty bag marks. But that's okay. 1971 Denver, surprise, surprise. This one has that little anomaly to the right of the tail feather between the shield and the FG again. And I think I've said in previous videos that it kind of looks like a die crack, but... or not a die crack, a die chip, but I don't know. I honestly don't know what it is. I've put it against other possible like die clashes and things like that, and it's not in the right position to be any kind of a detail from the obverse transferred to the reverse. So I honestly don't know what that is, but this is like the third or fourth coin that we've found with that exact same little weird thing right there. Kind of like at the 11 o'clock of FG, but I don't know. If anybody out there knows what that is or any theories, let me know. Alright, real quick look at the 2000 Philadelphia with most of the detail missing. And if you look at it too, you can tell by the metal flow that it is definitely an older die state. And this die was heavily worn. Back of his head is missing some detail. That could either be from a weak strike or that even could be a little bit of wear. My guess is it's probably from the weak strike. But the metal flow on this thing is just absolutely crazy. But the metal did not flow in a lot of the detail. Like most of the L, the I is like completely gone. You could see like a shadow, like a ghost of where the I should be. The rest of the 2000 is pretty gone, like it looks like a 20. We Trust is pretty good. God is struck pretty good. In is almost completely missing again. And then the reverse, again, older die state, but a lot more detail on the reverse, also known as the anvil die because it stays stationary. Maybe a little bit of missing detail to the left of the bird's tail feathers. I mean, the left leg's kind of struck weak, but nah. By far not as dramatic as the rest of this. I mean, there's no T and there's most of the Y there. So anyways, again, I'm sure it's not really worth anything more than 50 cents, but we're going to keep it because it's interesting and we're going to collect stuff how we want to collect stuff. And then we saved the best for last. 1983 Philadelphia in just appalling condition. With some really weird marks over here, like around between the We Trust and I don't know, that I thought at first maybe that was damage, but it's not. It's metal flow from just a really, really old, really nasty die. But as you know, the mint will use a die until it pretty much shatters or explodes. Now, most of you guys probably know what we're going to be looking for in this 1983P. And I think we found it. That right there would be a no FG. And I think this is the second no FG that we've found 1983 Philadelphia. Not sure, you guys probably remember better than we do. Again, horrible condition. But from what we can see, the FG is not there. So we're super stoked on that one, obviously. This is one of the ones that we probably will get try to get certified through NGC as an error. I'm just trying to get like maybe 10 or so errors together so we can save on shipping and handling there and back. Because I mean, if you send one coin, you're pretty much spending way too much on shipping unless you do, I would say, 8 to 10 coins a piece. Just makes it a little bit cheaper. But of course, again, you collect how you want to collect, you do what you want to do, and you do however your budget best fits. Speaking of NGC, I believe Monday I will be having the next part of our NGC series coming out on how to get your coins certified. The next one should be where we get our coins, you know, from various different sources as far as rolls, mint sets, things like that. We'll discuss that a little bit, and then the next two videos after that will be actually showing you guys how to become a member of NGC or PCGS and pretty much show you the shipping process, how you fill out the forms and all that fun stuff. But anyways, guys, yeah, super stoked on this. One of the best half dollars that we found in a while, especially since silver seems to have dried up, but like it always does, it will return. Anywho, guys, God bless, love you all, and we will see you very soon in the next video.